YouTube? Back again with the WPL 1/16 scale toy crawler. And I got a lot of mixed reviews on the video, the unboxing video so far. A lot of people are, it's Chinese crap and yada yada yada. And some people really like it. I mean, it was not expensive. And it depends on your definition of expensive, but $36, $8, yeah. Before I start tearing into it, I'm going to drive it for you and see if that affects your opinion on it at all. Now, I got the battery charging. I used an iPhone wall charger because the charger's USB. No idea if it's fully charged or anything. Uh-oh. My battery's already go dead in my controller. Okay, there we go. Light's blinking. So the controller's already getting glitchy. So the LED headlights. Steering is, good Lord, awful. It stays, when you turn, it stays running like a motor. It is not responsive at all. Oh, it did not stop. I don't want to break stuff. I already broke my engine back there. So it's got a little bit too much wheel speed. Steering is just the worst thing about it all. I mean, how? That's just with the wheel turn. Whoa. And it just took off on its own there a little bit. So, yeah, it's far from the best thing ever, but it does work. I'm going to go ahead and start tearing this thing apart. I'm afraid to turn the controller off first. Let's go ahead and at least try to make it look cool. And we'll see what we can do. Like you hear mechanics say, there's your problem right there. There is our steering. It's just, is that, okay, one screw holding that in, whatever that is. Our servo, this is basically the servo. So we have a small electric motor, this giant cluster of plastic gears, and that drives our steering. I don't understand. And this is our control module. This has lights to the LEDs as well as the battery. And oh, that's to our main motor. Only one wire to the motor. Okay, it splits into two at the motor. So that's okay, but the steering is horrible. Good Lord, I can't deal with that. I don't even get how that's supposed to work. But the good news is that you could almost fit a full-size servo up there in this place of all the junk that they have as a servo. Making it work with this stock speed control / receiver / whatever the heck it is thing. I don't know. I guess this is our antenna wire. Just back there with the LED lights. I don't know if I can just cut those wires and splice in a servo and go. So, I don't know. Let me know what y'all think. Everything's loose. I took 4 screws out of the front at first. 2 were for the bottom of the bumper, 2 at the top of the bumper to the body. And the 2 back here that you can see that hold the back of the cab and the battery box down, those 2 and these 2 are the only ones holding the body down. So it wasn't that hard to get off. And this just kind of covers everything, all that mess up front. Okay. So, the body's really nice. This is a really good body. I mean, it's hard plastic. The details are good. The interior's decent. Just needs some scale love. And this isn't actually a sticker. This is, I don't know what. It's kind of printed onto it. So I don't know how it'll be painting over that, but we'll give it a shot. The rest of the body, unscrews out. I can see some screws in the top for the glass and the rear. And we can figure out what we're going to paint this thing. But it's not too terrible to get apart. The servo is the worst thing, so probably won't work if I just splice in a micro servo and make a mount. I doubt this is going to work. The battery tray is big enough you could get a decent normal battery, or at least put a normal connector on it in case you put a real ESC in it. Is it worth doing all that though? I mean, this is just a toy, something for me to play with paint. That's kind of why I got it. This is why the suspension rattles around so much. Those are screwed to the frame, and I'm afraid if I tighten them, it may not work the same. I think the rattleness of it is part of how it works. And getting into there, I'm going to have to remove the electronics box just to get to those screws. The back, I could reach in there with a long one. Let me do that. I'm going to try to find my long screwdriver and tighten up those rear shocks while I can and see what it does for the suspension. Okay, so I've got the front end ripped apart here. It's bad. So the screw won't thread any further into the shock. And that wobble on the frame just bugs me to death. But the way it attaches at the bottom is pretty janky. It just slides over a thing with a screw. And it helps hold one of the 4-link arms on. But look at that play in that shock. I toyed with the idea of swapping out to these Jalan 2, the 1/18 scale RC 4-wheel drive shocks. But all the hardware on them, of course, is tiny. And everything on this is close to normal size. So the length is about the same from eye to eye. But there's just no way to make it work without a bunch of hardware and stuff that I don't have. So we're just going to keep the stock shocks. One day I'll find a use for these little scale shocks. But frame rails are pretty thin, but they are metal. I'm going to go ahead and take the tires off the wheels and get the wheels painted. And I'm going to start stripping the body down. It looks like basic 4 screws and the interior and the glass come out. And start looking at paint. I need to go ahead and do that before it gets completely dark. Then we'll keep jacking with the front end of this. Before I go paint, I did want to show you. This has a more detailed dash than the RC 4-wheel drive Mojave body has. It's it looks good. It's even got the right Toyota style steering wheel. No stickers or anything, but it's got AC controls and the vents and everything already molded into it. Little dash pocket. The seat has a really cool texture on it. On the bottom, not on the top. Don't know why. And the floor is kind of a diamond plate. Not sure if I'm going to paint the interior yet, but I think I'm going to paint the body tan. And to those of you surprised, I'm going to paint shiny. I decided not to patina this. It's just, I just want it to look like a little rock crawler. So it'd be cool to get some stickers made to do like the traditional Toyota stripes, but I don't know how to scale all that down. But that would be neat. But I'm going to paint it kind of a gloss tan, and I think I'm going to try to paint the interior a fabric brown color I have, and we'll see how it comes out. I'm not going to try to get super detailed on it, but with the glass removed, the back of the cab comes out just like the RC 4-wheel drive Mojave body has the interchangeable back cabs. This is a half one, and I guess maybe they have a full one, I don't know. But it goes in the same way. So I'm going to get outside and start painting. One thing, these are glued on beyond belief, so I'm just going to paint over those. There's no LED or anything. And then I'll come back and just sand the paint off, so you can still be able to see it. But yeah, it's not coming out. I've tried. I think I'd end up breaking the whole fender up here before I get that out. So I'm going to go outside and paint real quick. So I've got the paint all drying, even the stuff on my arms. But that little sticker, it did not like that. It fish-eyed on top of that. So once it dries, I'm going to have to sand that and do another coat. But it looks good. The detail on the body, I mean, the quality of the finish of the body looks good. It's really, I like it. So I've been working on the front suspension here. I tightened the shocks up. I put a washer in, a standard RC washer, And I think there's enough play, enough slop in the shaft of the shock that it's not going to do anything, not going to affect it negatively, and it makes it not so rattly. So now I've got to put the gigantic steering confusion mess back in, and now let's try to figure out how to get the back ones off. I think I'm going to have to pull that whole back battery tray out, but that'll give us a better look at the transmission there in the middle, so I'm going to get started on that. The back half comes off easy enough, but look at this. Everything has at least 1 millimeter of gap, and for this tiny of stuff, that's huge. I'm running out of washers. I'm going to at least put them on the shocks. If not, I might do the whole suspension. Front doesn't have that much slop in it, but that could be because I tightened up the shocks. So I'm going to do that. All I'm doing, it's got a larger hole in the aluminum, and it has a tapered post that fits into it, and then the screw butts up against it, and that's where we're getting all our slack from. So all I'm doing is putting the washer on the inside, so it's forced to be up against the rail, and that kind of tightens everything up. So I'm going to do that again on the back, and we'll see how it does once we get it all back together. Alright guys, so wasn't much to see under the transfer case. I forgot I already got it all back together. Just a little motor and another enclosed plastic gearbox full of plastic gears. But yeah, I've got it. Took a lot of the rattle out of it. It's a little springy. That's just these cheap shocks. But yeah, now we just gotta wait on the paint to dry and start putting it all back together. I opted to leave the flatbed black with the diamond plate and the roll bar black. There wasn't any point in painting that. Plus, it's half your underside structure, so you don't want to make it a color. The little tires are really nice. They look like some kind of tread pattern I've seen before. They're not too hard, not too firm. Good mix. Might could find some other scale use for those, I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to go check on the paint. Alright guys, so the wheels were dry enough to mount. The interior's dry. The body still pretty tacky. I had to put a second coat on it, see if it covers up where those stickers were, because it just was kind of looking weird. So I really don't want to have to sand it, because this is just a cheap little build, and I'm just trying to make it look a little more realistic. But now I've got it back on its tires. The tightening up the shocks really quieted it down a bit, so it's not nearly as rattly as it was. Still, all the 4-link arms and stuff are loose, but short of getting a pack of washers and going through and taking everything apart, all the screws go into plastic. They're all self-tapping, so you got to be delicate with it. I don't want to strip anything out because I don't know where to get replacements, and making links and stuff that size I don't want to have to do. So now I've got it this state. Like I said, I'm waiting on the body. I'm going to go ahead and paint some little details on. The dash and interior came out amazing. Like this dash right here is fantastic. I painted it a fabric tan, I think. It's a Model Masters, Modern Masters, Model Masters. Whatever paint you buy at Hobby Lobby for model cars. And looks excellent. I like it. It's a good kind of tan brown. I like to use it on my Hilux interiors. I've got a couple of them painted like that over the years. So I think I'm going to paint the steering wheel black and the shift knobs, and I'm going to go around the grill and do the outside of the squares in silver like I have on my Mojave body. Just add a few little details here and there and try to give it a little more depth. The wheels I just did gloss black, and it just makes a world of difference. They're not perfect. One of them's got a little bit of orange peel to it, but like I said, no biggie. This isn't a show truck or anything. It barely runs, but I think I forgot to point it out when I had it apart. The circuit board in there, everything plugs into it with a connector. It's not all soldered to the board. So find which wires go to the servo contraption. I might, if I get a small enough, like a little Savox servo like I threw on my latest hot rod build, a little $12 unit, and I might have to change the connector on it, but I may be able to plug it right in. I don't know if it'll work. I don't know if it'll have enough voltage to work, but it's worth a shot. Just anything to do away with that steering, because that is the worst part of this whole truck is the steering. You know, I wasn't gonna mess with electronics. After driving it, it makes you cringe when you hear the steering. But now that the body's getting painted and doing some detail stuff, and the wheels are black, you know, it might be worth putting a little bit of money into. Not much. I'm not gonna do anything spectacular to it. It would be cool maybe get some parts for the RC 4-wheel drive July 2, the little 1/18th one. I don't know how big those are in comparison to this 16th scale, 18th scale. It's all, you know, perception. So, but I don't know. We still got to really. If I spend the money and fix the steering, then what's next? The drive shafts, transmission. I mean, these little plastic gears aren't going to hold up. It is a little too peppy for a rock crawler. It jumps around. Throttle response is terrible. So it's probably not even worth messing with that circuit board. I got to decide if I'm going to do it. I might as well do receiver and a whole new everything. So I don't know. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's worry about some details now. Let's just get this interior detailed out. Waiting on the body to dry. I got some details painted on the dash, painted the steering wheel. My grill came out pretty good. I had one little run, but it's not that bad. I just tied some rope to the bumper. I kind of drilled a hole, make it look like a winch rope, but I didn't have a hook for the end. I've been looking for something to put on there as a shift knob, but no luck yet. And I've got some of this felt. I'm going to make some floor mats real quick. It's just a sticky back felt you can buy at any hobby stores. I think Walmart even has it. So I'm just going to cut a couple little pieces so it looks like it has floor mat. You're probably not going to be able to see it, but why not? Guys, just waiting on the paint to dry. It dried enough, and I wet sanded it, and I got the little texture where the sticker was off, and it looked great. And then it dried, you could see it was blatantly not glossy, so went ahead and sanded it a little more thoroughly, and I've got it drying right now, and I'm going to do another coat of paint. I've got the interior all in. Just kind of got it mocked up here, but I put a little Coke can in there. I was trying to find a shift knob, but I just didn't have any luck. Got the front end all done. Got our silver Toyota grill. I need to cut that while I'm thinking about it. That extra wire here. That's just some bracelet material I've had for 25 years. Maybe not that long, but I bought a lot of scale accessories on eBay back in 2006 or so, and that was one of the things in it, was that thing of bracelets, bracelet rope, and it's made many a scale rope ever since. So things looking pretty cool. Just a little bit of detail goes a long way. But once we get the paint on, I've got to let it dry again, and then we got to do the snorkel, door handles, and mirrors, and wipers, and put it back together. I really think I'm gonna want to get some scale stripes for it, the Toyota hood stripes and the brown and stuff. The body's tan, the interior's a dark tan. I think it'll look good, but now we wait, guys. Paint is finally almost dry. My little odds and ends here are dry enough to touch. Back of the cab, everything else was dry. The body I had to redo because of those stupid stripes. I had to sand down after I painted it the first time. Not perfect, but it's good enough for the scale. So, got all my details done, got my tires and wheels on. Next thing is going to be the snorkel, the mirrors, and the windshield wipers, door handles, stuff like that. Not sure how this is going to go. I may have to drill some of these out. I'm not sure if I've got to glue them and they snap, or they're just going to go in and stay. That's cool. I'll take that. Alright, so yeah. I know the snorkel didn't want to come out after I put it in the first time, so especially with paint on it now, maybe it'll all just press into place. That would be fantastic. Oh, one thing I've got to do real quick. I've got to sand off my lights because I couldn't tape them. I could have taped them off, but I was lazy. Let's see, we need something slightly coarse. Try not to get our rest of our paint. May have to get something a little more gritty. Yeah, I'm going to have to get some better sandpaper. There it is. Man, I've been working on this all day. I gotta say, this thing looks awesome. It still drives like a $40 RC car, but it looks fantastic. Just adding some color inside, a couple little details here and there. Painting those damn white wheels. I don't know why those were white, but it really looks scale. That body, I knew that body was cool. And man, it just pops. All it needs now is the Toyota stripes and a servo and a motor and a whole new drivetrain. But you know, it is what it is. It's a cheap toy, and it looks a lot better now. I'm sure it's hard to get video because the contrast of the interior and the black wheels and the body really makes it hard to see. Now, I've painted some of the window edges. Got details inside. We've got a Coke can, floor mats, painted dash, steering wheel details. Looking back, I probably should have painted the chassis black. Maybe if we start tearing into the steering, maybe we can do something with that. My favorite part, I think, is the grill. That just really, the silver lines. I always love doing that to my hobby bodies and stuff. Excuse me. Got my winch line just kind of tied around the tow bar. I didn't put the tow hooks on because they just kind of snap on, and they're maroon. I didn't figure that would look very good. Didn't have any extra screws. That's always a good sign when you take something apart. The wheels they look a little hardcore for a Toyota, but they look a heck of a lot better black. I painted the battery box cover thing same as the body color just because it was easy. Yeah, and it's not nearly as rattly as it was. I got all the shocks tightened up. We've still got our flex. Now we just got to smooth out the steering and yeah, have some fun with this thing. I got the snorkel on. It all fit pretty good. I went ahead and put a little bit of glue on the inside just to hold it. Bring you around the back. Thing's pretty cool. For $38, it looks pretty good. So now we got to decide if we're going to get it running as good as it looks. But anyways, I'm going to wrap this one up. It's been a long day and a long video. So let me know what y'all think in the comments. And be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And I will see y'all in the next video. Thanks for watching.